As a manager, I have high expectations of my team members. I expect them to be communicative and proactive and accountable. And I would venture to guess that as a manager, you might have similar expectations of your team members. But the question is, how often do we reflect on our own behaviors? And are we holding ourselves to those same standards? Welcome to The Modern Manager. I am Mamie Camphor-Stewart, and every week I share tips and strategies to help you be a rockstar manager with a thriving team. And today we are talking about how, as managers, we need to role model the good behaviors that we expect of our other team members, even when it might feel harder than it actually is. But before we dive in, make sure you hit that subscribe button so you never miss a video. You have probably heard the saying, actions speak louder than words. And for better or for worse, it's mostly true. And when we role model these good behaviors, we create an environment of openness, of continuous improvement, of trust. And that's exactly what we want in our workplaces. So let's take a look at a couple different examples of behaviors that as managers, we need to make sure that we are embodying. The first behavior is asking for help. Of course, we want our team members to ask for help when they are struggling. But do we do the same? It is easy to fall into that trap as a manager of thinking that you need to be able to do everything. That if you need help with something, that somehow you are weak or incapable or irresponsible. But that's just not the case. When we ask for help, we demonstrate that we're human too. It makes us more relatable. And it shows that asking for help is a reasonable thing, that sometimes everyone needs help. It's not bad. Sometimes when we ask for help, it's a signal that we are in growth mode, that we are stretching and growing, and it's an opportunity to learn from others. And sometimes when we ask for help, it's because we're too overloaded. There's something else going on and we just can't get everything done. And instead of overly stressing about it or not meeting deadlines, it's an opportunity for us to share some of that burden, to share some of that work so that we can continue to make the progress that we need to. I often worry that when I ask for help, it is somehow going to make me look bad, that someone's going to be disappointed in me, or it's going to make me look like I was incapable. But that's not the case. In fact, when we ask for help, what it does is ensure that good work gets done. And often the person we're asking for help feels valued because they're bringing some expertise. They're able to jump in and help out, and that feels really good. So take some time and think about, from the past couple of days or couple of weeks, have there been moments where you were struggling and you didn't ask for help? If so, make this a priority going forward, that next time you're struggling, you're going to reach out and ask for some help. And if you find that you are already asking for help, great, congratulate yourself, and now pay attention to your team members and really encourage them to continue to ask for help when they need it. Next up is asking questions. I love it when my team members ask me clarifying questions. When they're unsure about something, or I've said something and it doesn't totally make sense, I want them to speak up and ask questions. It makes me so happy because it makes sure that we're all on the same page and we all have shared understanding. And yet, it can be really hard to ask questions when I feel like, oh, I should probably already know the answer to this. If I ask this question, it's going to make me look silly or stupid or like I wasn't paying attention. And that's not the case. A lot of times we hold ourselves back from asking questions, even though the other people are not going to judge us for those questions. They actually want us to ask those questions. They want to make sure that we're all on the same page. They want to make sure that when we leave this room and we go make decisions, that we really truly do understand the information, that we have all the context that we need, that we are all thinking through the same thing. And just as important, if we're not asking questions, that can sometimes lead to us holding back. I might not offer an idea if I feel like I don't fully understand because I'm worried that that idea might not make sense. So if you need to understand something, we have to ask questions. It's not a matter of looking incompetent. It's actually a sign of intellectual curiosity. It's saying, I really am engaged in this conversation. I want to make sure that I understand things. I want to be part of this. So asking questions is a really good thing that we should be encouraging of ourselves and our team members. One of the strategies that I use when I'm feeling a little nervous or insecure about asking a question is to give it some sort of framing or caveat. For example, I think what I heard you say is X. Is that correct? Or if I understood you correctly, what you're saying is Y. Did I get that right? Something like that can help ensure that our question comes across clearly, but also shows that we were really listening and engaging. And that's often easier to ask than a simple, I don't understand what you mean by Y. So it's nice to use those kinds of caveats or frames to open the conversation and feel a little bit more confident when you're asking your question. And of course, you can always ask for more context, more details. just anything that you need in order to be able to do your work effectively. Next up is communicating proactively. Of course, we want our team members to tell us if they are going to miss a deadline or they've hit a roadblock or anything else that is important for us to know so that all of our work can continue moving forward. But do you do that too? Do you sometimes hesitate to share bad news or not say anything if you don't have anything to share rather than checking in and just letting them know that you're on top of stuff? It can be hard to be proactive because most of us don't want to share bad news. We want to solve it on our own and figure out how to fix it. And we hope for the best, even though that deadline is rushing and we're not sure we're going to make it, but we think we can. But proactive communications, when you're sharing bad news or even just an update to say, I don't have anything new to share, is a sign of true professionalism. We can role model this kind of proactive communication in a couple of different ways. Obviously, you need to let your team members know what's going on. But if you leave a meeting and someone needs to be informed of a decision or some next steps, immediately follow up with them. Don't wait until your natural check-in that's happening 2 days from now. Let them know as soon as that meeting ends. Or if someone is waiting to hear back from you and you've said, I'll get back to you on Friday, and you still don't have the answer on Friday, don't just leave it over the weekend and figure you'll follow up on Monday or Tuesday once you know more. Check in with them on Friday and let them know, hey, I'm sorry I don't still have an answer for you, but I will get back to you early next week, so we'll be able to keep moving forward. These things may seem small, but they make a huge difference in how the other person feels respected and how you're able to then have open communication lines so that your team members can be proactive in communicating with you as well. Lastly, is owning mistakes and accepting feedback. Of course, we want our team members to admit when they've made a mistake, to acknowledge their growth opportunities, but are we doing the same? Whether it is big or small, being able to say directly to your team members, oops, I made a mistake. I'm really sorry about that, goes such a long way to fostering an environment of trust and psychological safety where other people also feel comfortable saying, oops, I made a mistake. I'm really sorry about that. Acknowledging our shortcomings and demonstrating a willingness to accept feedback and to grow and to evolve, it's not a reflection of weakness or that the way that we were doing things before was wrong or somehow bad. It's actually an acknowledgement that we are all on a growth journey, that we all need to work in different ways in order to be our best selves and do our best work. And that is a continuous process that unfolds over time, that none of us are perfect, but we are all able to keep moving towards a better version of ourselves. When you ask for feedback and then show appreciation for it and then accept it and do something with it, it is a powerful demonstration to your team members that they should be doing the same. Too often, we are harder on ourselves than we need to be. Or at least I'll speak for myself. I am often harder on myself than I need to be. And probably like you, have moments of feeling like I need to be perfect and I need to know all the answers and I need to be able to handle everything on my own. But in those moments, I'm probably showing up the opposite of how I want my team members to show up, the opposite of what I believe are the right behaviors for those kinds of moments. Things like asking questions, proactively communicating. All of those behaviors shut down when we feel like we need to be perfect and we need to know it all. For me, of course, I don't judge a team member for asking for help. That's what I want. I don't judge a team member for asking a question. That's what I want. So why do we think that other people are going to judge us for those same behaviors? In fact, when my team members are struggling and they don't ask for help, or they miss a deadline and they didn't proactively alert me to it, or they had a mistake and they didn't tell me about it, they tried to bury it, that's really frustrating and ultimately disappointing because that's not what I want for my team. So why would I expect that they should deserve anything else from me? When we lead by example, we do a couple of different things. It fosters trust. It fosters respect. It increases our communication. And ultimately, all of those things serve to deliver better results and a better working environment. Leading by example is not just a management technique. It's actually professionalism. It is a commitment to personal and professional growth. By embodying those behaviors that we expect from others, we are creating a ripple effect that positively impacts us and our team members and our entire workplace culture. So if you found this video helpful and you want more tips and tricks for how to be an effective manager with a rockstar team, check out themodernmanager.com. And while you're here, make sure you hit the subscribe button and check out my latest video.